Get to another case here, another big story making headlines. A Chandler police officer has resigned after the city says the officer admitted to using Flock license plate readers for personal reasons. The resignation comes as the city announced it's ending its contract with the company Flock Safety because the technology has been misused and there are safety concerns. At last night's city council meeting, the city manager said that while those cameras are still up, they've been turned off. Those who spoke during public comment say while they're thankful for the city's decision, it's not enough.
I want to be clear that this position is not anti-law enforcement in any way. It's pro-constitutional rights. Guardrails are simply not enough.
Our community members deserve peace of mind and the assurance that their privacy will be protected.
So Chandler is now the fourth department in the Valley to announce investigations into potential misuse of the AI cameras. All right, so Josh, first off, we talked about safety concerns.
Yeah.
Expand on that.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the biggest concerns is, what Pinal County is saying, that this violates our Fourth Amendment right to privacy. And I'll give you an example. When you walk into a grocery store, everybody knows that they have surveillance cameras and they're recording you, and that's being used to prevent shoplifting and theft. And that's being compared to this. But I think that's not really a good comparison because that video footage stays with a private company. It's not disseminated among every single law enforcement agency in the United States. Here, you're having everybody recorded. They're license plate readers. They're called LPRs.
Okay.
Sometimes there are pictures of them as well. And 99% of the people are innocent. They're not committing any crime whatsoever. And all their information is being stored in a supercomputer somewhere where anybody in law enforcement can pull their information and decide what their behavior patterns are, where they work, where they go to the gym. And they can do all sorts of nefarious things without any guardrails whatsoever, at least right now.
Right. Okay. So obviously there have been officers allegedly misusing this, not just here in the Valley in Arizona, but really nationally. This has become a problem. However, on the flip side, does that outweigh the original intent of these Flock cameras to really, solve crime?
Yeah. So Flock cameras or LPRs, do they stop crime? Absolutely. Now, you have to draw a line between, the public good and the public harm. And right now, just like with AI, we just don't have the guardrails yet, the due process that needs to be involved to make sure that the public is aware of the risks in the case. And I'll give an example. The Supreme Court just came out with a case on June 29th that said that geo-tracking, that is, finding out from a cell phone tower, each and every cell phone that's being used in that tower at any point in time, they must have a search warrant to get that data, even though it's out in the public. Mm-hmm. And I really expect that there will be a very similar precedent that parallels with these types of cases. But it does have a legitimate law enforcement purpose. For example, the DEA and Border Patrol, they use this technology using an algorithm to see where the bad guys are. Like, why is this person driving down from Payson to Yuma 3 times a week for 20 minutes and driving back up? So they call DPS and they say, look, pull this person over. It's a pretextual stop and that's okay. Right. And they do it and they find 50 kilograms of methamphetamine or 10 bodies in the car. That's what Border Patrol refers to undocumented people. Right. And it works. Right. However, there's so much potential for misuse. Yeah. And that's what the public debate really needs to be about.
Yeah, and I mean, especially, when we look at AI and how technology is just going faster than we can handle. Obviously, this is another example of, whoa, we need to pump the brakes. Like you said, put some guardrails in place so that it can be better handled and managed.
Who's watching the watchers? Because right now we know who's watching, but we don't know who's watching the watchers. And I think we have to know that so we can feel safe and secure knowing that information isn't going to be used for nefarious purposes.
Sure. Excellent points. Josh, thank you so much. We appreciate you.